Kill or Be Killed podcast with Damian Ross, founder and master instructor of the Self-Defense Company.
All right, cool. Yo, good morning, man.
Hey, my man, how's it going?
Good, good. So yeah, by the time this comes out, it should be fine. So yes, it's official. I signed the Self-Defense for Dummies contract, so I will be the dummy writing
You'll be the master dummy.
Right. So it's going to be interesting. There's some deadlines to meet. They definitely have a process to how they do their books. I mean, obviously I can write a shit ton on the subject and already have a lot of stuff written anyway, just from, thinking about putting together a book myself. But I think right now, the hardest part for me is like, they're going to want things formatted a certain way.
Yep.
And it's really going to be the getting started part. And which is anything else, but I'm looking at this as another, just another challenge and a way to, again, get out of my comfort zone, to work with the team to get something done, on a subject, obviously I know a little bit about, but more to the point, in a media that, look, everyone thinks they can write a book, but you can't. I mean, there's a certain structure and arc to this shit. Like I started writing one, a couple of years ago, and then that's actually going to be a lot of the content of the technical aspects of the book, as far as techniques and tactics and things like that. So, we're going to go over the first process thing is to just refine what the chapters are. I have like family safe in there, but I might not include it only because I think, if we want to make this a personal self-defense manual, for adults,
yep,
I think that could probably be like family safe and like campus safety and things like that can be another addendum to this. So,
because I was just going to ask you, if it was going to be like based on the modules and how that would look, and are there going to be some like pictures in there, like some goofy cartoon pictures?
Both, yeah. I mean, we're going to determine that. I mean, it's essentially going to be modules 1 through 4,
nice,
if you will. I mean, that's really, that covers pretty much everything. Well, and plus modules 1 through 5, because we have escape and evasion in there with the awareness course. So awareness, escape and evasion, modules 1 through 4. And that'll give you, I'm going to obviously talk about the hierarchy of self-defense. We're going to, you can't talk about self-defense without talking about firearms. There's obviously not going to be a firearms involved. It's going to be more empty hand, but we'll talk about obviously pepper spray, personal alarms, flashlights, edge weapons, impact weapons are going to be mentioned in the hierarchy and briefly discussed, but not taught. Again, I just don't think that's the scope of or the tenor of the book. But again, we've got to maintain truthful to what self-defense actually is.
Yeah.
And I think, where people constantly like confuse us with, I don't know, everything else, is that we don't include weapons. And truth is, weapons come first. We don't necessarily teach them first, but they come first on the hierarchy, and only because like the empty hand techniques are the harder ones, and then they install the core, motor skill sets that develop, that you just, after you understand what position, distance, momentum, and balance, then it's like, okay, so, we're going to put a blackjack in your hand. All right, fine. What's the difference between this and an edge of hand or a hammer fist? Well, really nothing. So what's the difference between a vertical edge of hand or a hammer fist and coming in with a blackjack? Nothing. So, that's where, we're, then, with the edge weapons, how you grip, what type of knife tells you how to grip it, which hand you keep your weapon in, as opposed to which situation. Firearm, same thing, weapon retention, all that stuff. So obviously we're not going to get into that in the For Dummies book, but we're going to mention it because that's what people should not know. I don't want somebody walking away from this being like, okay, well, I'm a black belt. And it's like, no, but again, like we've been preaching people, you don't need to be a black belt. I think the biggest concern that, that people face is that, they've been constantly, they're constantly told that they got to spend an inordinate amount of time training and learning a skill set that obviously is an instinct. And then, have them, I think because with our martial arts training, we're like defeat the enemy, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, fine. But most times it's like, you just got to get away from the enemy. You look at an antelope and a cheetah, right? In a one-on-one fight, antelope loses.
Yeah.
But cheetah doesn't always get the antelope. In fact, cheetah fails a lot more times than he's successful. So, you got to be, life starts as an antelope. You're paying attention, you're looking around, you're reacting to early warning signs and getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah. And, I think that's the biggest problem with the whole fucking self-defense industry. When you look at the majority of people who are teaching there, they are so focused on in battle that they forget about the soft skills and just, being aware in the very fucking first place. But, I know you're talking about the book, and there's something I just kind of wanted to talk to you about because I saw somebody posted on Facebook and I thought it was a great fucking discussion, was talking about actually teaching soft skills as a self-defense instructor. And, the difficulty that comes with that, because when you've got your buddies that you're training with who have no intent of fucking hurting you, and they're trying to role play the bad guy, you're really not truly getting the bad guy, right? You're not
right, of course.
It makes it so hard to really train these soft skills. So for those who put a lot of emphasis on the soft skills, I think that they're really doing a disjustice to their students. Yes, we have to talk about it, but I don't believe, and this is after thinking about this a lot, I don't believe you can really successfully teach how to deal with those stressors in a class environment. You can look for indicators and that kind of stuff when it comes to soft skills, but how do you really role play the bad guy with, fucking Jimmy, your best friend, who, obviously doesn't want to fucking kill you.
Right.
So I want to talk to you about that to get your thoughts on that.
Sure. Well, and it's hitting this correctly. I mean, the way to train it, the way we teach it, is like to give them drills they could use in the real world, right? So the counting hats, playing hide and go seek, really maintaining your personal space and not allowing yourself to enter places of ambush. I mean, these are things they just have to, and then these are things they need to remember to practice just in their everyday life. See, the good thing about that is like you don't need to go into a classroom, to understand that I don't walk directly in front of a doorway.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to, get in a classroom to learn how to take a position of advantage on somebody. Like every conversation you have, you should be lining up on their center line and then separating yourself far enough where if they have to hit you, they got to shift their weight. Right. So this is what you should be doing every day. And these are how you ingrain and this is when we talk about when we say, learn it today, use it tonight type stuff.
Yes.
Right. You're walking to your car. You're not walking directly next to the cars. Right. You're walking in a way where if somebody has to, attack you, they can't, they need to cover, enough ground to get in front of you so you can see them and just change direction and escape. At the end of the day, if anyone wants to impose their will on you, they have to get close to you. Right. So, maintaining your personal space is critical, and then and then looking at when people are, you may role play, dodges. People are like, hey, I need help. Hey, I need, directions. Hey, I need this. And it's like, I'm not from around here. I'm going to call the cops for you right now to help you. That's it. Right. So I'm like, I'm not in the business of, I need a couple bucks to get to here. You know what? I'll call the cops. I don't have any money on me. I mean, these are the things that people do to get close to you, right? So right away with just what we talked about, I mean, that will solve a lot of problems for a lot of people.
Yes.
Right. And then the next thing is holding pepper spray in your hand when you're moving from these areas. Right. So you have it in your hand. You're not looking for it. It's definitely not in your purse. I mean, maybe I'll give it if it's stuck in your pocket, clipped on your pocket. That's cool. But for the most part, have it in your hand. You've got your shopping bags or whatever, your pepper spray's in your hand. Right. If have got, your keys in your other hand, if you need them to be out to get in your car. Right. You're looking around, and I go, that's how you walk around life. Someone approaches you, you try to create space. Now, as soon as they pursue you, fight is on.
Yeah.
Right. So this is where, if you're carrying pepper spray, you just juice them. You don't give a shit. Hit them with the hot sauce. That's it. I told them to leave me alone. They don't fucking leave me alone. And that's it. And then you escape. Again, solving that eliminates like the vast majority of any type of threat. Right? I mean, I carry pepper spray. I carry pepper spray, edge weapon, and a firearm. Right? And I have body armor when I'm going to, especially if I'm going to the mall, if I'm commuting, I'm traveling, I'm like, this is the shit I got with me.
Yep.
Right? So, I'm coming out and I go, the first thing you're getting is fucking pepper spray. I have the edge weapons really for grappling.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and get into a West Side Story fucking bullshit. But if I wind up on the ground with you, I'm going to try to shank you as many times as I can. So, these are the things that, people just have to understand. There's the awareness, there's the everyday carry, and then there's the techniques that come behind it with all that stuff. And I said 99% of the time, awareness, pepper spray, escape is going to do the job. There's going to be times, obviously, where you can escape or you're trapped or you can't get to those weapons. Something happens. Shit always goes wrong. And then you need the backup, which is the empty hand stuff, which is designed for you to create space and get back to those other things so you can get the hell out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but to your point, you can't recreate someone trying to impose their will on you, kill or rape you in the studio because
I mean, you see some instructors and some of them do it really well, don't get me wrong, but I still think it's a bit inaccurate is when you start to have a training partner who, like you said, is imposing their will, but is right up in your face and you're trying to defuse and de-escalate this situation, when in reality that's not how it's necessarily going to be, because the fucking drunk guy down the street who gets in your face and starts yelling at you and fucking saying whatever he's going to fucking say is a lot different than your buddy Jimmy who's saying the exact same things, right? There's that element of reality in the streets that you don't get in the training.
But even when, again, we're kind of in the training, the problem is you're forcing a situation to escalate.
Yeah.
Right. In reality, if I get confronted by a drunk person, I'm going to fucking walk away. Right. I'm like, some guy, you motherfucker. I'm like, okay, have peace and love. See ya. And I'm out. Right. So, the rest is like what your ego tells you to do. Right. So is this what we're really training for? I mean, I train for, I'm pinned down. I can't move. Guy wants fucking what he wants from me. And, this guy's a trained, he spent a lot of his life, getting what he wants out of people by intimidation. So, but the reality on that is, and Gavin DeBecker did a great, when he was on Rogan, did a great bit on this. And I think we played it, but he's like, we have this vision of our attacker as this like ruthless serial killer who's coming at us at all costs and will die to get what he wants from us. And that's like a fraction of a percent.
Yes.
That's like the sociopath fucking, and even those guys are looking to pick the right antelope.
Yep.
Right. So even when they see, some type of resistance, or it's not right, they're a predator. They're going to move off. Self-defense is a predator-prey relationship, right? So, someone's going to come into you and you're going to offer resistance. They're going to be like, okay, then they're going to do the 3, checklist. What are the chances of, me being caught, identified, or injured now? Yeah. Right? Will I, what's good? How much effort is, how much risk versus reward here? What are we talking about? So that's where, self-defense lies. And what a lot of people just don't understand is that they, because they've been told time and time again, it's just like fucking mortal fight for the death to the death. And they're like, I'm not saying no, but no, and it's not, I'm not saying it's not scary. I'm not saying it's not, stressful. It is fight or flight,
100%
death, right? I'm like, your body is going, sympathetic nervous system kicks in. You're just like, holy shit. So yeah, and also you got to be able to operate within that, which is, that's why we keep the techniques and the tactics as simple as humanly possible, and that's why we try to apply them. That's why we learn how to apply them to any situation. So, these, when we're getting into these things where, we're allowing people into our space to do this. So right when a drunk is in your space, and you see the scenarios all the time, right? Right when a drunk guy gets in your face, right? When you're practicing, and all of a sudden he comes in with the overhand right. Now it's all of a sudden, now we react and we go. When in reality, if this guy's even half a decent street fighter, you're kind of fucked.
Yep.
As soon as that overhand right comes in, there's a left, there's a right, there's a left again. Bang, 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 bang. I mean, you got to assume that this guy now, he pulls the trigger. It's not just going to be one and done. Not saying that doesn't happen, but I'm not going to depend on that. So that's why we look to establish distance, or if somebody's, if we can't, we got to go. You got to go first. Got to go first, which is the hardest thing for people to do.
Yes.
But again, you're carrying your pepper spray, all of a sudden it's really not such a big deal, right? You're just like, bang, all right, I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
So, training, stress, some of the things to kind of get that elevated up, you can do low light situations, you can do strobe lights, which are crazy, but, you gotta have people have head, mouth, hand protection, to do that. Even though you're still pulling punches, that is a tendency to amp people up.
Yeah.
Just to get you in that, out of that, friend versus, friend. But even then, you still know deep down that this guy's not trying to kill me.
That's right. It's still a controlled environment.
Right. So, I just, this is why we teach the techniques we do and the tactics we do, because we know that, simple is and simple works. We attack general target areas with non-specific defenses, because that's what we know is going to work. I mean, you can do 100 scenarios and they can come out literally 100 different ways. Right. And then you'll never find the same exact one in the real world. But what I can tell you is that I can tell you how far that person's going to be from me. And I can tell you in what direction that person's going to be from me.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to us. The rest, whether they're going to, kick, punch, grab, the rest is unconscious. There's no consequence to it. Right. So, whether it's a wrist grab, whether it's a punch, whether it's an arm, it doesn't matter. We're basically kind of reacting the same way. Right. So the only difference is when our arms are pinned or grabbed, then we obviously can't use them at that point in time. So we use whatever is going to give us the tactical advantage at the time, period. Right. So, yeah. So I said, this is kind of like the message that we've always preached. I'm excited to kind of get it out to that broader audience and kind of invite them in to what we got going on.
100%.
So yeah, we're excited. Yeah. So like I said before, like, and then it's like now, I've got the point in my life where I can see something that I can tell also whether it's going to work or not, and it's basically, look, momentum is huge. So once you start going, like we're talking about before, like, working off one technique and then moving in automatically to another, it's like, you try to smash somebody in the face, this hand is going, right? So you're going to actually have to recock and strike again, not go from here to here. That's an unrealistic motion.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. But so we'll see. Hopefully I don't fuck this thing up.
It's a fucking master dummy.
Right. Exactly. I mean, they've got like a whole team of people that'll I'll probably deal with like 4 or 5 people from beginning to end, to kind of coach me and move me along. I mean, this is what they do. So yeah. So that's it. I don't know, man.
Beautiful. And when would this be released?
It's supposed to be released in July.
Okay.
So yeah, depending on, that seems like, forever away, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. Again, the upside I have is I have a lot of content already written.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps. And then, like you said, like the photos, the artwork, they're going to pick what they're going to want pictures of. And then depending on, what we, who does what, shots. And the good thing is their office is in Hoboken, which is about 20 minutes from me.
Nice.
Yeah. So if, we need to go down there, if they need studio space or something like that, I'm like, look, they don't pay a lot of money. It's like, I think I get like $8,000 for, just for writing it. And then there's like a percentage, it's like 10 to 15%. And then sometimes 5% of it's discounted of the sale of the books. So, I mean, this is all Google, you can Google all this stuff. And I did, before, and that was roughly what they, said. And all that money is in advance. So you actually wind up paying that back through the sales.
Yeah.
My goal with this is to just kind of push the brand out there to a wider audience, and get our message out to a wider audience and make this stuff really accessible, and then open the doorway to doing like podcasts and appearances, which, now people have an excuse for me to come on their show. All right, let's get the Self-Defense for Dummies guy. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's it.
That's pretty cool. That's going to be cool.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, it's, they got a process. They've been doing it. They've got 250 books in print with like over 250 million sold over the last like 20 years. So I'm actually shocked they haven't done this title before.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they do cooking, they do you would think, but then, yeah. So they found us, which is cool. Yeah, man. So it's good shit.
Nice.
Yeah. So hey, any follow up with your bullying student?
You know what? I've been in touch actually pretty regularly. We've had I think now 3 sort of let's call them lessons, because they're all like half an hour, whatever. We haven't got him physical yet. Right. A lot of it has been really focusing on, when I say physical, I mean actually striking stuff yet. I took your advice with getting him active, though, starting to build the confidence a little bit. And that's been working out really well. The parents have said that, they've noticed a bit of a difference. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing coming into the new year. And then sort of see where it takes us.
It's so important that you have a plan.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what happens with most kids or most people for, these stressful situations is they kind of panic because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
If I told you, I go, look, when this happens, step back with your left foot, right? Whatever. It's just something to do so your mind has something to kind of focus, because we're designed, that stress is fight or flight.
Yes.
Anxiety is fight or flight. So when we're, faced with these things and we don't know what to do, that energy is that anxiety is there for a reason, and it's good. So, for people to just be like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to establish distance, right? I'm going to stand up. I'm going to present myself in a certain way. Now, if he comes in, I'm going to, drop step, edge of hand, whatever. I'm going to hit him with pepper spray. I'm going to do this. So now it's like your mind has a place to go.
Yes.
Right. So now as this kid, and this happens a lot with, victims of violence too, when they train, it's like, they're trying to grasp what happened to them and why. And then it's my fault. I invited this on me, and they don't really, and they feel powerless. But then when you start actually training and creating a solution for that, that starts to help your mind reconcile, the event.
Yeah.
So it helps with recovery. So now what you're doing is you're giving him a plan, and you're giving him, something concrete to do. Before it was just, I'm going to go home and just stress about this.
Yep.
Now it's like, I'm going to go home and I'm doing push-ups. Right. Or if that happens, I'm going to hit him. I'm going to, now your mind is working on something concrete and actionable, and not oh, I'm going to have to go through this again. And I'm facing this abyss of nothingness, but pain and regret and fear, and I don't have a response to it. Now kids got somewhat of a response.
Exactly.
And that's what we're really trying to, and that's what we do. And that's how it works, is that you're creating a plan and a response. So, it's not that, it's frightening, but now you've got, you can channel your fear, which is a good thing, over it. So yeah. That's very cool. That's very cool. Any stories from the instructor side?
No, not a whole heck of a lot. People are getting their information across, which is good. We're starting to see an influx in that. Been working with a few instructors who are starting to prepare. Again, everything is kind of about the new year now. And I mean, I hate that level of thought because, tomorrow's never promised. But
yeah,
a lot of people are kind of like, new year, and we're going to be focused on doing what we got to do. The nice thing is, with the world kind of forgetting about COVID and opening up more, we're getting a lot of instructors who are planning on getting out to start teaching a lot more. I'm wanting to get out and teach a lot more throughout 2023. So I'm hoping, God willing, to be able to travel throughout the US and Canada and do some training throughout 2023. So we'll see how that works out.
You still have Canada still has vaccine restriction?
To the best of my knowledge, no. We're letting people in regardless of vaccines. But I mean, for a while that was changing pretty regularly. I remember there was the vaccine restriction, and then I think that they opened it up. I'd have to look and see exactly what it is now. I haven't really been following it because there hasn't been a whole lot of talk about it lately.
Right.
So my understanding though is anybody could come in regardless of vaccine.
Okay.
Whether or not they've got that. So.
All right. That's cool. Yeah. All right. Cool, man. So yeah, that's it. And we're getting ready for another enjoyable weekend. Basketball season has started.
Nice.
Yeah, we had our first scrimmage yesterday. Northern Highlands basketball, give it a follow on Insta. And
we'll have to see if you get any good footage of any fights breaking out in any of these. So is this high school or college? This is high school, right?
High school, yeah. He's a senior now. So
it'd be interesting to see what's his plan after high school, because if he's a senior, what is he, grade 12 now?
Yeah. So he's we're looking at, he's getting recruited a little bit.
Okay.
Looking at some academic D3s for him to play. And then he's already been accepted into about 4 colleges, his safeties. So we have a list of colleges, one that he wants to just attend and another that he may play for that have expressed some interest in him. We're not going to really be making a decision until April, but there will be college in his future for sure. And
are these colleges fairly close to you, or?
Everywhere from like really primarily East Coast. I think the farthest one, some Florida, some Chicago, and then Texas. So, like I said, he's got into like Houston, he got into West Virginia, he got into West Florida, and he got into Coastal Carolina. That's in South Carolina. These are kind of his safety schools. So, we have some other, we're not going to find out about the other ones until March. And then by that time, hopefully, recruiting will be, we'll know, if he's going to be, if he's going to be able to play at some of the places that he's already gotten into, or that some of the places that are recruiting him, he gets into. So I said, man, all he's got to just do is like focus, have fun, and do that. And then my daughter's going to finish her junior year. So at one time I have both of them in school at the same time. That's next year. And then, then she'll be out in the real world, which is bizarre. And then,
fucking getting older over there, aren't you? You're gonna be like a fucking empty nester soon.
Yeah, dude. About this time next year for sure. So, yeah, and it's cool. We're ready.
Just gonna get a bunch of fucking cats, or what are you gonna fucking do?
Yeah, right. I'm gonna fucking not be here is what I'm gonna be. I'll be fucking working to finish paying for these fucking kids.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. That's what my son is funny. He's like, I don't know if I'm gonna have kids. It's like, he's like, they're expensive. I go, yeah, no shit.
So everybody buy self-defense for dummies so we can put fucking these kids through fucking
please
life.
Yes, please make a donation.
That's right.
All right, man, on that note, we'll end it here. So okay, everybody, thanks for stopping by. Until next time, train honestly. Peace. Here's my thing. Stop.